Sir, could I have you introduce yourself briefly?
Yes, I'm Tom Rolfe. I've lived in Lewis and Clark County for over 30 years. I'm Montana born and bred, and running for the county commission.
And what do you do for a living, sir?
I've been in the automobile business most of my life, servicing people, helping them to find the right products, helping them to negotiate the best deal.
Okay. And is this your first time running for elected office?
No, actually, I ran for and was elected to the state legislature right after I got back from the Army. I served one term and then did not run for re-election because I was getting involved in a family business.
All right, very good. So, Mr. Rolfe, why did you decide to run for county commission this year?
I decided to run for the county commission because I really believe that there are some things that are important in our area that need to be dealt with. You know, it's no longer it is no longer a situation where we can just do what is expected and plan for things that are normal. The last few months have taught us how important it is to have contingency plans, to be planning for the unexpected. And we've got to learn how to do that. I have a strong interest in overseeing budgets, seeing that property taxes don't go up, that property values for individual homeowners and property owners are kept strong, and for the county to do the things that are needed. We need to do things like reopen the journey home so that we have a place for folks with mental illness issues to land, a place that's dependable and always there, so that when they're having a crisis, they can be helped. And we need to recognize our great first responders that we have in this area, and support them in their efforts. The folks that are working on the fire lines, the volunteer fire departments, they need to be supported. We need to be continuing to work to mitigate the possibility of wildfires going into the populated areas, and we need to be working on flood control problems. All of these things require some planning, and they need to be done in a way that provides the most bang for the buck that the people entrust us with.
What do you see as your main qualifications for this position?
Well, I'm a person who's used to listening and used to helping people make good decisions. I think it's very important to be able to listen to people, to check out the facts to the best of our ability, to make sure that things are, investigated properly, and then to make a decision and move forward with all those facts we've done. I think that's a really important part.
What do you see as the number one issue facing Lewis and Clark County right now?
Well, with the events of the last couple of months, I think probably budgeting for the county is going to be one of its big things. You know, a couple of months ago, the big issue was planning and zoning, and now all of a sudden, are we going to have property taxes paid? If our business is going to be around to be able to pay their taxes? Individual people, are they going to be able to pay their taxes to provide what's needed for the county to go on? So just being able to make the budget is going to be a really important part. Our farmers and ranchers have got to be able to find a way to get their products into the hands of folks that need food, and there are a lot of pieces that need to come together. So just responding to the coronavirus pandemic is going to be a major part of what happens.
Are there any issues that you feel the county leaders haven't given enough attention to in recent years?
Well, I mentioned the journey home. in my mind, we have to have a definite place, a dependable place for folks to go when they have mental health issues. And right now that's closed down, and we've got to get that back up. We have a mental health epidemic here that may have more cost to it than even what we've seen locally in the virus pandemic. And it is real. It's been going on. We've had a epidemic of suicide. We need to address that foursquare and get it resolved. If I'm elected to the county commission, I'd like to spearhead an effort to come up with good answers that are long-term, that will solve that problem. The other thing that's extremely important is keeping the price of government where it's affordable to the people of the area, and making sure that people's property rights are not disturbed and not hurt by actions of the county.
Okay. What do you feel the county is currently doing well, and what do you think needs to be improved on?
One of the things that I've been really pleased to see, as I spent several months visiting with county employees and attending meetings, I sat down. I took 3 days off of work last year and attended budget meetings, and I was really pleased to see that they were able to keep the actual operating budget, pretty close to the same. Now, our taxes went up because we voted to build new schools, and we voted to redo the detention center, but the basic operating budget has been kept pretty close to the same. And I think they've done a great job of it, and doing things like looking for state and federal grants to help with bridges and roads, and the flood mitigation project that was done out in the valley recently, where most of the money came from other sources rather than property taxes. I think they've done a good job of that sort of thing.
Okay. Is there anything that you feel needs to be improved on?
We've got some great people working for the county. They get a lot of work done. They have a good heart. There are going to be disagreements. So I think maybe one of the things that we need to continue to work with, and they've done a pretty good job of this, but I think we need to continue to work with the idea of sitting down and talking even when we disagree. It's always been my view that just because someone disagrees with me, they aren't my enemy. If I've got a lot of friends that I can sit down and talk with, and share ideas. Sometimes I find that their intent is very much like mine. It's just that we have a little different way of going about it. So I think it's really important that we keep the temperature down, that we continue to talk, and we try to arrive at solutions that are the best for the most people.
On a couple of specific issues you mentioned with the COVID-19 situation we've been experiencing, what do you want to see the county do to provide support as the community comes out of this situation?
Well, the health department has done a great job, and we do provide some funding there. And while the health department kind of runs on its own under the auspices of the health organizations, I think that's we have to continue to work with them to work through that. I think it's important to get people back to work, back in their jobs, back to some normalcy as soon as it's safe to do that. And it's important for people to be able to make a living. Nobody wants to be out of a job, and we want folks to get back making a living and being part of the community as soon as it's safe to do that.
What is your opinion on the zoning proposal that the county has been looking at, and do you support it? And if not, what kind of zoning would you like to see?
Well, I've always preferred the kind of zoning that individuals initiate themselves. It's my feeling that the county commission was correct in their decision to get rid of that 160-acre minimum subdivision for the agricultural and undeveloped lands. I think that it's important for folks who are looking at their agricultural land as their retirement to be able to do what they need to do with it. And it's important for people to be able to subdivide as necessary to make it successful. But I think that, and so I really favored that decision to get rid of the 160 acre minimum subdivision. Good decision. I think we've got to do things that help people protect the value of their property. I've been a long time advocate for private property rights and the rights of the individual that owns the property. Part of that is it's necessary to know that if you're a neighbor, you have to be a good neighbor, and you have to try and not create problems on your property that affects the neighbors around you. And I think that the planning that was set up over the last several years, where the 2015 planning documents need to be moved forward with. We need to keep trying to find ways to bring communities, build local communities, local neighborhoods that are truly good residential neighborhoods, and we have to do it in a way where we can get affordable housing, and for folks who are entering the market maybe for the first time, or maybe they're retiring and they're trying to get into something a little bit smaller. So we have to do that. We'll have to see what the final document looks like. Hard to say what it is until we see that final document.
All right, what final message would you like to leave voters of Lewis and Clark County with?
Well, I've spent a lot of time over this last year trying to understand what's going on. Like I mentioned, I took a number of days off work so that I could go to meetings and learn about different things. I've talked to people who work in the county. I work for the county. I've talked to a lot of property owners, of residents of the county, and I've put in a lot of work to try to understand what's going on and what people want. And I think that I can do a good job of that. I'm a listener and I'm a doer, and I can offer to the people of Lewis and Clark County the ability to hear what they have to say, to listen to their concerns, and try to do the most for the county. I would really appreciate your vote and your support. And if you have questions, I have a website up. It's at tomrolfe.vote, and I ask you to go there and take a look and check me out.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.